Hello everyone and welcome into the CFL DFS video for week 19. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my CFL DFS sheet for week 19, talking through all the relevant players, whether or not I would consider them a GPP option, a cash game option, or a GPP paydown option. And then I'll also be going over whether or not I'll be in line with the field, overweight, underweight, slightly underweight in terms of expected ownership for each player that I do talk about at the same time as well. And then as always, I'll be listing all the depth charts down in the comment section below, as well as any other major news. Anything else beyond that will be updated on this sheet over on my Patreon page. So definitely feel free to check that out. Very small monthly donation over there. You get access to my CFL DFS sheets for a month. You get access to my NFL DFS player pools for a month, as well as my NFL snap count spreadsheets. But without further ado, we'll get right into it. We're going to start off with the Toronto Argonauts. At quarterback, Nick Arbuckle is going to be missing this week. He's on the one-game injury list, so you're looking at Jared Dagey at quarterback. He's $8,800. I would recommend being underweight to the field on him this week, and I personally will not be getting to him just in general. In terms of the running back position, if you really want to play Spencer Brown, you can definitely do that, but not really anything that I want to do at this point in time. Mike Williams was able to practice in a limited capacity, but he still does technically remain out. Then we move down to the wide receivers. I have 4 different players listed here as GPP options, and that is going to be DeJuan Brissett, Kevin Meidel, Jay Kerslow, and Makai Polk. If I had to pick my favorites, probably going to be Jay Kerslow and Makai Polk. Kind of in line with the field on all of them. Makai Polk did not practice on Tuesday due to a shoulder injury, but he was able to practice in full on Wednesday, so he is listed as available for this game. Not too much to be said here. If you really like one of these wide receivers, definitely feel free to play them at the same time as well. In terms of that Argonauts defense, I have them as a viable paydown option. $3,500, probably going to be in line with the field. They do have some serious upside, especially with the talent that they do have on defense, but some downside at the same time as well. Then we move over to the Roughnecks. We got Trevor Harris at quarterback. He's $9,600. Currently have him listed as a GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him ultimately. He has been getting his receiving weapons back and healthy at this point in time. So he does have a little bit more upside than he did have maybe like 3 weeks ago. But definitely do like him as kind of a leverage play this week overall. And then I will mention that Tommy Stevens is out once again this week due to a knee injury, so some touchdown equity to go around once again. And then AJ Alouette, running back, $9,400. GPP option. I'm probably going to ultimately be in line with the field on him. You could make a case for being slightly overweight to the field on him with some of that added touchdown equity at the same point in time as well. Then we moved down to wide receiver. Dante Myers didn't practice on Monday, was limited on Tuesday and Wednesday due to an ankle injury, but is technically listed as available. So if you want to roll him out and play him, you can definitely do that. Personally, myself, I'm looking at Samuel Amelis and Keyshawn Johnson as kind of GPP options. Probably going to be in line with the field on them. And then Keon Schaefer-Baker at $4,000 as a viable paydown option, and will be slightly overweight to the field on him. If you want to play some of these other wide receivers and take a chance on them, you can definitely do that at the same time as well. And then we move down to the Roughriders defense. They're $4,500. It is the most expensive defense, I believe, on the slate this week. They're going against Toronto Argonauts. Jared Dagey's at quarterback. Lots of potential for upside there, so I do have them listed as a cash game option and slightly overweight to the field this week overall. Then we move down to the Calgary Stampeders. Ferdinand Adams Jr. at quarterback, $10,200 GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him this week. Not too much to be said here at this point in time. And then we move down to running back Dedrick Mills, $7,700 GPP option. Probably going to be in line with the field on him as well. Was limited practice on Tuesday, but was able to practice in full on Wednesday and Thursday due to a shoulder injury. So he is listed as available. Not really too concerned there. Jayshawn Antwi behind him out once again this week with a head injury. And then we move down to the wide receivers for the Stampeders team. It feels like it's a different guy every single week, so kind of pick your poison at this point in time. Whether it's Clark Burns, Eric Brooks, Dominic Rhymes, or Jalen Philpott, all kind of GPP options. Probably going to be in line with the field on all 4 of them this week overall. If you want to roll out Tevin Jones, you can definitely do that at the same time as well. And then Malik Henry was not able to practice on Tuesday, but was able to practice in full on Wednesday and Thursday. They say it was not injury related. Technically listed as available. We'll see whether or not he does make his season debut this week or not. Moving down to the Calgary Stampeders defense, $3,800. Kind of a paydown option in line with the field on them. They do have a little bit of upside versus that Tiger Cats team, especially if they can stop Greg Bell in that running game, which has been really good as of late. And then we move down to that Tiger Cats team. We got Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback. He's at $10,400. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him. And he had a really strong performance in their most recent game. Prior to that, he's been a little bit more rough, so I definitely understand if you don't want to play him, but the upside is still there at that same point in time. At running back, Greg Bell is $9,500. GPP option, probably going to be slightly overweight to the field on him. He's just been doing really, really well as of late. And then in terms of the receivers, I'm really only interested in Kenny Lawler and Keandre Smith this week as kind of GPP options. Probably going to be in line with the field on both them. Brendan O'Leary-Orange has been scoring touchdowns as of late. So if you look at his past point totals, it looks a little bit better in recent games, but the volume's still not there at this point in time. And then Tim White's been a little bit more hit or miss. So if you want to roll him out, you can definitely do that. But it is a little bit more risky than it has been earlier this season and in recent seasons at the same time as well. Then we move all the way down to the Tiger Cats defense. They're $4,200. GPP option, I am slightly underweight to the field on them. I'm just not in love with that price tag at this point in time, and I do like other defenses better this week overall. Moving down to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I got Zach Collaros, a quarterback, $10,000 GPP option. I do have him listed as slightly underweight to the field this week. I don't feel like paying $10,000 for what Zach Collaros has put out on the field so far this year, especially in terms of production, and he's been a little bit injury prone this year, we have to admit. Whether that is, the concussion, head injury, neck injury, they're starting to add up at this point in time. So there is a little bit more risk than there has been on other slates and in other years at the same time as well. Brady Oliveira at running back, he's $8,900. GPP option, maybe even a cash game option, and I am slightly overweight to the field on him this week. Moving down to the wide receivers, there is some pretty big news here as Nick Naminsky is $9,400. Did not practice all week. It says it's not injury related. He is listed as doubtful for this game. So that will open up a lot of targets and opportunities out there. Mainly interested in Jerry Stearns and Ontario Wilson, the kind of GPP options in line with the field, maybe ever so slightly overweight to the field. You could make a case for either one of them being a cash option if that fits into your lineup. And then Carrot Greedfall, he's $6,800. Was able to practice in full all week due to a head injury, but still is technically listed as questionable. Then we move down to Blue Bombers defense. They're $4,100. I think it's probably a little bit too expensive for them. So I have them listed as GPP option, probably in line with the field, but maybe ever so slightly underweight to the field. Definitely do think they have a decent amount of upside in this matchup, though. And then we move down to the Edmonton Elks. We got Cody Fajardo at quarterback. He's $9,000. GPP option, probably slightly underweight to the field on him this week. I just don't love him in terms of that price tag, and I do like a couple other quarterbacks potentially this week that are cheaper than him as kind of cash game options. And then I do like the upside of some of the more expensive guys at the same time as well. And moving down to running back, if you want to roll out Javon Leake at $5,600, you can definitely do that. But I would mainly be looking at Justin Rankin. He's at $10,000 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field. We'll have a little bit of exposure to him here and there, but not going over the top or anything else like that. He does have a very, very high ceiling, but the floor we've seen at times this year has not been the greatest. And then we move down to the wide receivers. I'm mainly looking at Curly Gittens Jr. and Keon Julian Grant, kind of GPP options for both, in line with the field on both them. And then if you're looking for a pay down option, you could look at Benjamin Victor, $3,800, probably going to be in line with the field on him at the same time as well. Then we have that Elks defense. They're $3,900. I have them listed as a GPP option, maybe in line with the field, maybe slightly underrated to the field. Just kind of depends on how that Blue Bombers team plays overall. And then last but not least, we have the game that is going to be on Monday. This is the reason that I did wait to record this video until Thursday so that we did have as much information as possible. We're going to start off with the Ottawa Redblacks. Drew Brown, $9,500. Didn't practice on Thursday due to a knee injury. I'm probably going to assume that he's out this week. So if you want to go out and play Dustin Crum as kind of like a cash game option at $8,500, definitely do like that quite a bit. Otherwise, if you want to roll him out as a GPP option, if he's the starter, would be slightly overweight to the field on him this week overall. Not really interested in the running back room at this point in time. And then mainly their four wide receivers that we've pretty much been targeting all season. Braylon Addison, Justin Hardy, Eugene Lewis, and Khalil Pimbleton, all GPP options. In terms of Addison, Hardy, and Lewis, I'd probably be in line with the field on all three of them. And then Khalil Pimbleton, I'm going to be slightly overweight to the field on him, assuming that he is the return man once again this week. And then we move down to the Redblacks defense. They're at $3,600. Kind of a paydown option, probably in line with the field on them. Could have a little bit of upside, but I think they do have a decent amount of downside at the same time as well. So mainly if you're playing them, it's just because they are a cheap option overall. And then last but not least, we're going to go to the Montreal Alouettes. We got Davis Alexander back at quarterback. up to $8,900 at this point in time, but I would still very much consider him a cash game option, as he is either the cheapest quarterback that it will be starting or the second cheapest behind only Dustin Crum. Definitely do like the upside there. We'll be overweight to him once again this week. In terms of the running back room, Stevie Scott has essentially been the bell cow, so $6,400 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him once again. Then we move down to wide receivers. James Lecter Jr., their return man, was not able to practice once again on Thursday due to a leg injury, so it looks like he's trending towards being out once again, which is a very interesting topic because Tyson Philpott returned kicks and punts in their most recent game. If he does that once again at $9,900 and the volume that he gets on offense, he will be a cash game option. Technically, right now I have him listed as GPP, slightly overweight to the field, but very much would consider him a cash game option if we do get that news that James Lecter Jr. is out once again and they don't promote somebody that is like primarily a return specialist. And then beyond him, I have Charleston Rambo and Tyler Snead, both listed as GPP options, probably going to be in line with the field on both of them as well. And then last but not least, we have that Argonauts defense, $4,400 GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on them. I think they're a pretty interesting leverage play this week, though, especially if they can get pressure on whoever starts at quarterback for that Ottawa Redblacks team. And then last but not least, the BC Lions are the lone team on the bye this week overall. But with that being said, that was a quick rundown on my CFL DFS sheet for Week 19. As always, if you have any questions related to CFL DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Once again, I will be listing all the depth charts as they do come out down in that comment section below, as well as any other major news that comes out. Anything else beyond that will be updated on my CFL DFS sheet, which will be posted up on Patreon. If you're interested in that, very small monthly donation over there. You get access to my CFL DFS sheets for a month. You get access to my NFL DFS player pools for a month, as well as my NFL snap count spreadsheets. So a lot of useful resources just in general. But with that being said, if you're brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Greg Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week. Typically, it's on Wednesdays. Obviously, this week it's coming out on Thursday, mainly due to the final game being on Monday, so we had as much news and information as possible. And then I do have my NFL DFS core pick video coming out once a week, and that will typically be coming out on Friday or Saturday. I believe at this point in time, this week is going to look more like Saturday. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS and PrizePicks. If you're a brand new user to either one of those sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For PrizePicks, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section below or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in CFL DFS for Week 19.